All right, the camera is actually on right now. On you. Yep, your microphone's right there. And we are just
There I am looking at my computer.
hanging out. Hello, everybody. I'm Andy, and that's Greg. And we are just, we thought we'd do something casual and informal just to, I got to mute my computer here so I don't get any feedback. Talk about something that has become more important over this last year. Something that we're actually using right now in this moment, and that's the live streaming stuff. So we just want to have a conversation and talk about it a little bit, and then invite you into something that we're trying to do. How are you doing today, Greg?
Good. I'm looking at the
You're
screen.
looking at yourself, huh?
I'm trying to make sure this table corner is out of view.
That's out of it.
No, it's just
Let me ask you a question,
Yes.
Greg. Did you know that Tim Tebow is in conversations to get back in the NFL?
I did not know this.
And do you know what position that he was looking at coming back as?
Probably not quarterback.
Nope.
Tight end.
Yep, you're
That's,
right.
That's what everyone said he should be because
Yeah.
he's a phenomenal athlete.
The draft is this
Big.
Friday. Actually, tonight.
Tonight, yeah.
It starts tonight.
Mhm.
And you could care less about the Vikings? No?
No, I don't mind the Vikings. I like the Vikings. I root for the Vikings. I'm obviously not a diehard.
Not diehard.
But I want them to do well.
Who do you think they should take? Do you have any idea?
Is Tom Brady available?
That's who I thought they should have traded for last year.
If Tom Brady is coming out of college for a second time, maybe you want to try Tom Brady.
If he was half his age, that would
Yeah.
be true.
Even a 43-year-old Tom Brady
Yeah.
is better than probably most quarterback options the Vikings have.
Sadly, that's probably true.
I don't know.
Um,
I mean, let's be honest. He's better than most quarterback options, period.
yeah, yeah. I always love to hate Tom Brady. Sorry, Tom
Yeah,
Brady, if
me
you're
too.
watching this. I'm sure you're not.
Yeah, he might be.
Anyway, so
Our
I
Cousins is more likely to be watching this. we're just dumping all over.
Oh,
him.
poor Kurt.
Any-
Hey, did you see that Teddy Bridgewater got traded too?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he got traded to the Denver Broncos.
Oh,
And so that means that the Carolina Panthers are feeling confident about the dude from the Jets. Remember?
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
the
either.
guy.
Anyway, this is all. It's really just casual. We'll get into something more.
He's a USC guy. I'm drawing a
Focused.
complete blank on his name.
I don't know who.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
Jeez
Yeah,
Louise. I
that's
can't-
right.
I
The
watched him.
the guy who saw ghosts. Remember that one game he got destroyed? He said, "I'm seeing ghosts out there."
No, but that explains his second year at USC.
So if you're watching, sorry for all this weird banter.
This has
Actually,
been sports talk.
I thought about doing like a podcast like this where we just talk about just random stuff and have a conversation about things. And just so many things have happened in the last couple of years where I just never got around to it. But I thought it'd be kind of fun. So if you're in the comments section, say hi. We'll get to what we're going to be talking about here in a moment. But yeah, it's a beautiful day.
I need to
If you had a chance to be outside, yet today, and you've done something really cool, just put in the comments what you did and how you've been able to enjoy this nice day. Greg, have you done anything outside today?
I did something very cool, actually, and I might post a video later, but right outside the office, in the east side of the church, like where the addition's going to go, there was a crane, and
Like a bird?
no,
No.
like a machine, like a big truck with a giant hydraulic arm,
Sure.
robotic arm, very strong, and the 3-year-old little boy and me and Andy Rubel and Chris Mabin were all kind of out. Well, Rubel came back in and started, I don't know, doing Rubel stuff, but we were out
Numbers.
watching. Yeah, so they're putting new air units up on the roof, new AC units,
Okay.
because the AC units have been bad.
Is that what that loud hissing noise is?
It's a loud hissing noise you may hear during church, and then also
So that'll be fixed.
on occasion the water that comes pouring out of the ceiling tile.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
I remember that a couple years ago.
yeah.
and I had a new person on the soundboard that day. And we also lost power
Oh,
that
that's
same
right.
day. And I
Yeah.
jokingly blamed it on David. And I'm sorry about that, David. It wasn't your fault.
He hasn't
It was
been
a
back.
joke. I know he hasn't been. And Seth, how you doing? I hope your surgery went well.
Hey, Ron Schultz is
Hey, Ron. Hey,
and
Neva.
Neva West. What's up, people?
So hopefully you had a good day enjoying this nice weather. The top on my Jeep's about ready to get switched out. Cannot wait to drive around with the top off and the doors off. Super excited for the warm weather. I know you are because
Not
you're from
really.
California, right?
No, but I hate the heat.
You hate the heat.
So what happens is Andy takes the top off of his Jeep, and then at least 3 times throughout the summer, we have to come get him and say, Andy, it's about to start pouring. He's like, really? I didn't know it was going to rain today. And then,
Forecast would say rain, and then
Well-
and then I'm like the last time it happened, I was up here playing music, and it was I
Well,
could see it through the
just
windows.
pouring.
It was just
it was a Saturday night service.
yeah,
Yeah, it was pouring.
Oh well, it dries quick.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I love it.
Just drive fast home.
Yeah. So the thing we wanted to talk about today is our weekend streaming live services. You know, for a while there, we were doing them pre-recorded, where one of us would record some videos, edit it, upload it for the weekend, and then we started meeting back here in the building, and we started doing live stuff again. But we wanted to maintain a level of quality for the live stream. So from when we went from quarantine services back to the live stream, there wasn't a huge drop off in just in quality and accessibility. We're really wanting to make your experience at home unique and meaningful and accessible and powerful, just like it would be here in the building. Hope that's our hope. And thankfully, we started putting all this equipment in here years before the COVID stuff started happening.
Yeah.
And I think that was such a God thing, because who would have known that we would actually really needed it? And we had a chance to practice. We were totally acknowledged that in the early days it wasn't very good. Kind of stunk. The picture quality, the audio, just the presentation. It just was. We were learning, and we had to learn a lot in a quick period of time once COVID started happening. And I think from when we first started doing this a year ago, I remember I was in Hawaii on vacation, and Greg called me up on Saturday and said that we are going to cancel our services.
No, not
No.
canceled, just completely
Yes,
online.
we're not going.
We
in
still had
person.
service, just not
Yeah,
in here.
Correct. And
Yeah.
Brad had the team, and they were filling in for when I was on vacation. And so I remember being in the Kona airport, about ready to puddle jump over to Oahu, and I was on my computer trying to hack into this one over here to help Greg set things up so they could just stream the services with nobody in the building. And from that point on, it seems like everything has changed.
By the way, it sounds way less stressful for you from doing it in Hawaii than the rest of us who were here.
I felt like I was
getting
in
ready
some
to
like
puddle jump on over to another island.
I felt like I was in some cool movie where I'm like hacking into some
Yeah.
crazy server, and,
Yeah.
and there's like a time limit because the services were going to be starting
Yeah.
soon. And Greg didn't know as much about our system as he does now. I didn't know much about the system and the technology as I do now. And we still don't know as much as we want to know, as much as we'd like to know. And that's why we're just having this conversation
Yep.
here today. For those of you that didn't know, we were on this overseer pastor's retreat a couple weekends ago, and one of the things that was brought up in the conversation we had was trying to find a way to elevate what we do online and creating a community online for those of you that attend weekly online, and trying to make not only the quality better, but the overall holistic experience of viewing it, participating with it, connecting with other people online. What can we do to make that better and more impactful for you? Any thoughts so far? I feel like I'm talking a lot.
No, the one thing I was going to say is I know you kind of like talked about how pre-COVID and we're set up for this, and I know from your standpoint, because your job every weekend is like not just your job, but your heart is to be put on the best possible, or do the best possible job that you can do with music, and that the service would be, just to the best of our ability. Excellence is a value, and to put out quality. So it's not like the quality. The idea was we had cameras, we had live stream going, but it was really just like a camera on the wall of, hey, this is what's happening in the room.
And that's surveillance.
Surveillance, yeah. A little creepy. No, but it was just more for convenience. We got people that traveled for work, people, if you were sick, or during the summertime up at the cabin or out of town on vacation or whatever, you still wanted to check into church, you could. But we realized pretty quickly that experience wasn't as good as being here. Obviously, live in person is, it's hard to compete with watching a screen, but I just wanted to make sure we acknowledge, like, back, because we've been doing this for a couple of years, as you know, most churches our size were in panic mode at the quarantine, trying to figure out, how do we even do this? How do we go? And we had been online streaming for a couple of years by then. So credit to like Tim Lowenstein and Mike Reshitar and anyone else that helped with the tech team stuff. And Scott Whitman, I know, was involved with a lot of that, and at least the vision behind it early on. So so we were in really good position to have it. But to what Andy's speaking to now is we realized that we want to make that experience much better for those online, because up until about Easter, we still had about almost 50-50 our attendance online versus in the building here on a weekend. So we realized, like, a lot of people are still attending church online. And a lot of people who have come to a service in the building in the last several weeks, actually going back to pre-COVID, almost every single visitor that I talked to, a large number of them, have watched at least a couple services online before they even set foot in the building. They've watched services online. So so how can we make that a better experience and make it feel a little bit more like you are involved in the service and not just surveillance, the surveillance team, right? So I think we've done a pretty good job of that, learning. Andy did a great job throughout the quarantine, learning and figuring out better camera angles and better quality and different things. But we're, like you said, we're still learning. We're trying to still get better and acknowledge that online is not going anywhere. Like I said, people were already doing church that way before COVID. And I think we're trying to figure out how to make it as equal in quality as possible, right?
Yeah. It's funny because when we first started putting these cameras and everything in there, I was somebody who wasn't all that crazy about the idea of being on the internet. The idea of even doing this right now, being on this side of the camera, I really didn't like it. But looking back, to where we are now, realizing how immature and just kind of broken that mindset was. Because where we're at right now, obviously, it's imperative that we have something like this. And what's really interesting, like what Greg was saying, with a bunch of churches that were ill-prepared for something like this, I had talked probably with 5 or 6 or 7 churches, friends of mine that are part of churches that are calling me and asking me, like, what kind of cameras should buy? Yeah, what kind of cameras should they buy? Well, either of us. What kind of cameras should they buy? What streaming products do they use? All this kind of stuff. And so it's been kind of cool for the little bit that we do know how to do, is to be able to be a resource, but also it's just this tremendous community out there, whether it's groups on Facebook that we're part of. The internet is full of all sorts of, YouTube has got some great videos and tutorials on how to do certain things when it comes to video, when it comes to sound. I took a film class at the end of getting my degree finished up, and so there's just a tremendous amount of resources, and including you. You're the people are the best resource, and that's kind of why we're doing this, because as I look at what we're doing now with the online streaming thing and ways that we can improve, I have kind of maybe 3 or 4 different ways that we can up the ante or up the quality or just whatever you want to call it, make it a better. And this video that we're doing right now, even though it's live, it's going to be up, and we're going to leave it up for a while. So if you're watching this now or you're watching this at another time, if you have a thought or an idea, whether it's just we have this thing at Northridge whenever we share ideas and brainstorm is this umbrella of mercy.
Yeah.
So that just means that you can share anything, and we're not going to react to it and think you're out of your mind, or it's whatever kind of idea you think it might be. Anything that you think, just go ahead and put that in the comments section. And as this video is rewatched over the next coming weeks, we'll go through and look at all those comments and try to we can promise to consider every one of them for whatever ideas that you might have. So the three things that I think, and Greg, you can add to it or whatever, is the first thing is whoever is up here on the platform or the stage. I personally, just so you know this, I don't like being up in front of people on the thing. It's a weird thing. But whoever is up here, and whether it's the preacher, somebody sharing announcements, the music team, that the way that we project has an all-inclusive feel to it, that we're looking into the cameras, we're acknowledging you at home, as well as the people in the room. I know we've had a couple opportunities, like Brax a couple weeks ago, he did an interaction thing with the whiteboard, and that was really cool. There could have even been another step that we could have taken. I think we missed a cool opportunity. Not that it was wrong, but how could we have extended that to you at home to be able to participate and contribute to what was going up on the whiteboard. But even if it's just whoever's preaching, whoever's talking, that there's some sort of acknowledgement and trying to bring you into what's going on here. For those of you that are watching at home, what do you think? Anything more about that?
No, that's you're right. That's specifically that with when Brax was teaching with the whiteboard, we could have done something to ask, like, or maybe get comments from people. Right now, really the main area that you could interact with this service as far as comments live is through Facebook. You can on YouTube, but we realize most people who are watching on YouTube are probably watching on their TV.
Smart TV.
Yeah, app. And so, but if you're watching on YouTube through your computer or mobile your device, you can participate in the chat there too. And usually I have that open, and I try to participate as much as I can when people are on during the service. But yeah, that type of interaction is exactly what we would like to do more of and have available.
So if there's a cool way that you think would be fun for us as whoever's presenting to try to engage people who are watching the stream and not in the building, hit us up. Let us know if you think there's something that we could do better. The second way that we want to look at improving is from the people side of things with the community. Now, you mentioned that a lot of people do watch on their smart TV, which doesn't make it easy for you to, I don't think on your smart TV on the YouTube app you can comment. You can, but you have to stop everything.
Yeah, I think so. It's
Yeah.
weird because when I've watched stuff live on my YouTube app,
And you have to have an account
and
too.
Roku, yeah, you have to be signed in
Yeah.
to your Google account. But there is a spot. There's a thing that says comments or whatever. But whenever I clicked on it, nothing happened. So I don't.
Another
I don't
thing
know.
you could do is while you're watching on your smart TV, if you have a smartphone, you could pull out the YouTube app on your smartphone and comment
Yeah, you can interact
during the
that
live
way.
video from your phone
Yeah.
as you're watching it.
Yeah.
So that's another way you could do it. Same thing, or
I
you
would-
just go to Facebook.
I would say that for some, maybe I know that could be a distraction if you're trying to really engage in
Yeah.
the worship or church, and then you got your phone out and your kids are watching with you and you're telling them to pay attention, and then But my first thought when you were saying that was that would be especially beneficial maybe if you're by yourself watching, so that at least you feel like you're getting some interaction with somebody else and experiencing and getting some kind of fellowship. Yeah.
So just let's talk about that a little bit more because, so you're usually out in the atrium on your laptop watching these feeds and making sure they're working properly so you can, in my case, if I need to fix something, not like that.
In the middle of a song, maybe.
And so when I'm done doing music, I usually go out there and make sure everything's going right. If I need to make adjustments, I try to do that. By the way, it's really hard for me to make those adjustments while I'm playing. I love you all. Whoever texts
Don't text
me,
Andy when he's
whoever
playing.
texts me during the service while I'm playing music, I love you. It's so fun.
You're gonna get
and I can
100
feel
this
my.
week.
I usually have my
Yep.
phone in my pocket. I can feel it buzz, and
You're
nine
gonna
times
get
out of
100 texts this
nine
week.
times out of 15, I can sometimes guess who it might be.
Yeah.
But
Should we name names?
I don't want.
I'm one. I've done it.
Kim Kringen.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Kim. That's exactly who I was.
But it
gonna
has
guess.
nothing to do with what's going on at the moment. But one of the things that we oftentimes look at is how many people are viewing at any given time, and it's hard to tell because sometimes, and I don't know if you guys think about this from your end when you're at home watching this with maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or by yourself, but we're trying to just project how many people could be viewing any service at any given time. When it says
Yeah.
10 viewers, it could be double that amount or even triple that amount, depending on how many family members you have.
Yeah.
The other thing we look at are comments and interaction, mostly on Facebook because YouTube, like we said, you're watching on your smart TV.
Yeah.
The emotes, the hearts, and the smiley faces. Sometimes we get angry faces, which are really funny.
I think some people give their kids their tablet or phone or
Oh, you
whatever.
think that's what it is?
I don't know, or maybe it's also Kim Kringen hitting angry all the time.
I think it might be just automatic sometimes.
It might be. I think YouTube and Facebook. Well, no, Facebook. I think at least for a while they were doing that. If someone hit one emote, then a whole flood of them would come.
Oh, there's what
I don't know if they're doing that anymore.
was that Bert that just
Bert, me. Oh, it's Bert who hits angry faces. Okay, thanks, Bert Anderson.
So we think that there's, like Greg said, that you don't sometimes you don't want to be distracted by all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so you don't interact because you're trying to stay
Yeah.
focused, and we totally
Right.
get that and we appreciate that. But there is an element of a desire for us to want you to connect. I don't know, as the adult ministry pastor, maybe talk a little bit about just how do we navigate through this space of doing church online in your together alone, or is that what the phrase
Yeah.
was, or alone together,
Alone
whatever
together.
it is, alone together.
Something.
But still with the idea of the importance of community, the importance of relationships, the importance of interaction. How do we do that?
Yeah, I think the easiest way is just to at least go on the comments especially on Facebook if you're there, and just say hi or good morning or whatever. But and I totally get why people would shut that off or don't participate in that, especially during the sermon or during worship if you're singing. I mean, it's hard to really engage in the service and then like, oh yeah, I want to comment here. But feel free if you want to interact. There's typically a few other people watching with you that will interact as well. I notice a lot of people don't feel comfortable or for whatever reason just don't interact, and that's fine. But we're giving you permission to interact. And also, I think it would be a good thing, especially right at the beginning of service or something like that, at some point just to say hi. And we all talked as a staff, and especially during those periods where we were having to go online only, man, it's crazy how like names and faces kind of leak out of your brain, right? You just kind of forget about people, and it's sad to think about, but it's true. If you don't interact with people all the time, you just kind of, oh yeah, I forgot about them, which is one of the most awesome things about regathering and people coming back. It's like, oh man, it's just great to see you. I haven't seen you for weeks or in some cases months or There's been every week, the last several weeks, it seems like there's been people or families coming for the first time since pre-COVID, coming back into the building. So,
I still run into people in Rogers area
yeah,
at like Target or Cub
yeah,
that I
yeah,
haven't
that
seen
too.
here in the building in like a year, and they still consider themselves a part of Northridge, even
Right.
though they haven't been.
Yeah.
I watch online or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
So interact there. I mean, comment there. Say hi. Just say, hey, we're still here. So,
Well, the first thing is permission. They need
you
your
got permission. Do it.
Yeah, Greg's permission to
You got
comment.
my permission. Like it's kind of
Is-
like with
Is
when
it
the-
helpful if people up here just kind of get that going too on the weekends? Like if I'm up there and we're about ready to sing,
Yeah,
or whatever.
maybe.
Hey, because we don't do the greeting time,
Right.
because of COVID. Probably all of the people that hated it before, they probably love it now.
Yeah.
But the traditional greeting time during the service, we obviously don't do now. I kind of miss it. It's weird. Like I never.
Should do like smile and nod time. Just turn and smile and nod. Acknowledge the person 3 rows behind you or whatever.
Just wave.
Yeah, wave.
Yeah.
But
But you could do that
something-
online,
you could
too.
Do that online. Yeah.
And it seemed like during the quarantine time, Bert's been commenting.
Yay.
During the quarantine with the pre-recorded,
Oh, Bert texts Andy.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
during the
Oh,
pre-recorded services, there was a little bit more interaction. Not a ton, but a little bit more.
because everyone was on there.
Yeah, because everybody was there. Versus now, when we're doing kind of this hybrid thing, where there's a lot fewer people commenting on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And it's really more about just interaction with you. It's not even about commenting about the service, although we
Yeah.
appreciate that stuff. About the technical stuff, we try our best.
Ooh.
Thank you for your patience and grace.
Yeah.
And
Put a marker there. Let's talk about that for a minute.
okay, go ahead.
We'll come back to it. Good.
No,
Keep going.
I'm done.
Okay. Good. That's a good trick I had to just cut you off and interrupt. No, it really, yeah. But the interaction thing is really we just want to make sure that you are engaged and that, and it's not about, who comes out with the coolest comments and that sort of thing. But so interacting, good. What did I just stop you for? Technically stuff, technology. There you go. Or technical difficulties, or when things are a little different or don't sound right, or those sorts of things. So, I think one of the hardest things for me, not knowing a whole lot about the technical side of what goes on back in the sound booth or the soundboard and all that stuff. I don't know anything about that stuff. But I have a phone, and I have an iPhone, and I've had one for a long time, and it's easy. I could just go live anytime and talk to people on my phone, on my profile, and it's fine. Why is it that sometimes during a live service, there's times where people can't hear Andy's vocals or can't hear, Ben's mic is too low, which is miraculous because, Ben talks really loud.
Projects his voice
Yeah.
pretty well usually.
So even if
Greg
you can't
and
hear
I
him on a
are kind of-
microphone,
We've been told we sound a lot alike sometimes. I don't know. I don't hear it, but we have definitely a more muted sounding, mid-rangey voice. Where Ben, he can get going, and Brax is pretty good too. as
yeah,
well.
Ben and Brax, I don't think either one really need a microphone, and you could still hear them from the parking lot. But so at home, I've learned a lot of this stuff. So I'll get a comment on Facebook or YouTube or even a text or someone saying, hey, we can't hear Andy or we can't hear Ben or whatever, and my comment's always like, okay, we're working on it, because I know we are if something like that happens, but it's not as easy as just like, hey, let me turn a knob and Andy gets turned up. It's not as easy as just like turn the whole thing up, right? Because there's a lot of, there's just so many variables. But the first thing is we're all watching and receiving this on different devices. So different computers, phones, operating systems, all that stuff might receive the signals differently. And so the first thing is make sure your volume on your device is turned up to an appropriate level. And I do it all the time. If I have my Bluetooth earpiece on, I notice my phone sometimes it's turned all the way down. But if I have my earpiece in, I could turn it up. But then when I take it off and just want to use my phone speakers, it's turned down again. And it's kind of, sometimes it does that. So just make sure your device or your TV or whatever, the volume is up all the way. I don't know, that's step one. And it seems obvious, but I've made that mistake often where it's just my device. And every device is different. And I found that out through this process from Andy. And that's kind of frustrating because it's like, well, I wish we could help you, but we can't be in your home to figure that out. But some have
But if you
said
get in
they're-
touch with us during the week, we would be more than
absolutely walk
willing
you
to
through
help.
it.
But you know,
Some
if you
like
go
sound bars and things
some-
have affected things.
yeah, and the way you
so-
have it EQ'd as well, like if you have it in movie mode
What's EQ
versus
mean? We don't know. Come on, talk like you're talking to me.
so like the audio setting on your soundboard,
Yeah,
sound bar.
sound bar. Yeah, we don't have sound
The
systems.
audio
on that.
setting on your sound bar, you generally have some 3 or 4 generic settings where it's like movie mode, sports mode, music mode.
Or an audio. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that anyone is the best. It actually kind of varies per brand.
Yeah.
So, but to cycle through those, that will push up different frequencies more
Yeah.
depending on what you're watching. And so to make sure that you cycle through those to see if you can find the best one that sounds.
I found that out we got a sound bar on our TV because our TV. If you have a really new TV the last couple of years, the speakers are usually terrible. They're very small. They're in the back of the TV. So if it's against the wall, you get this weird. They're terrible because one, they want to make them real small, which Andy told me this because we're making them so small. The speakers are small. They're saving that room. Other reasons, but they also want you to buy a sound bar or other sound equipment, right? But I found this out with my kids would watch a show and our TV speakers, and it would be so loud in the kitchen behind our TV, but they couldn't hear it. So we put the sound bar in, and there's movie mode, there's sports mode, there's a nighttime setting, which is awesome. That it really elevates just the voices, and it cuts a lot of the background louder music.
Your phones have
Right.
that too as well.
Your phones do. So, and the point I'm getting at is, again, it's not as simple as, hey, can you turn everything up because it's low here. Our devices receive all these different signals. Like they receive a audio signal for a voice, and they receive a different signal for music or different elements of the music even. And so we have that going in here with live stuff when we got multiple microphones and guitars and keyboards and drum mics set up, and then that's going in through the soundboard, and you got the mad scientist back there pulling all these dials and turning knobs and making beeps and bops and whatever happens back there, I don't know.
And so
it's robot stuff.
Yeah, and that's primarily on what we're talking about right now is the way things happen on your end, but there a big part of it is how we do things on our end, because we don't want to blame you guys for the problems that you're experiencing, because most likely it isn't your problem. Before we get to the point about that, there's been some comments here.
Hey, look at that.
I just want to acknowledge Susan. She said, "I'm not sure how to interact during the service. Maybe more lives throughout the week with questions for people to respond to.
Okay.
Maybe more lives. What does that mean? More lives?
Like going live more often during the week.
Oh, you mean like this, like live
like this.
videos? Oh, okay. To sort of prepare people for the sermon for the weekend.
Yeah, I guess so.
That'd be kind of cool. Well, maybe doing some sort of weekly podcast like this would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And we don't want this to be super long, but if we're like, 20 minutes or so, half hour of a weekly thing like this, it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Well, I would say too, just if you feel it doesn't have to be pressure involved. Like how, if you just feel like just at the beginning of the service, hey, hey everyone, we're here watching, or even if some people are okay with, if the pastor, whoever's speaking, that says something and they want to respond or just say amen or so. It's typically the people that will also say amen if they're here. They type amen, or they do the little praise hands things.
Wait, this?
Yeah.
Or this?
I don't, either one.
Either one. Okay.
Depends on your background, I think, your denominational background. I don't know.
This is a denomination.
They need an emoji for just keeping your hands in your pockets, because that's kind of what I do.
It's Minnesotan. Neva put a paper What did she put? She put paper planes. What does that mean?
Paper planes. She throws paper planes.
Oh, we
or
should
something.
throw paper planes?
Hey, Dave, if you want to clarify.
If you're still watching
Yeah.
and you want to, would love to for you to expand on the paper planes comment. That'd be sweet. And then Jennifer, she put, the music is always quieter than the sermon, which is not the common response that we get. We usually get the other way around, don't we?
Yeah. Or like that. Often people will experience like a
I get that
one
they
particular instrument.
I
seems
get that
loud,
they
you know.
say that my voice is, when I'm talking, is quieter,
Yeah.
but when I'm singing it's louder.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And it's actually a combination of me being better on the mic and then also what goes on the soundboard. So that's totally on our end. But yeah, we do want to try to regulate the volume as consistently as we can. And that will lead me to so we got interaction. That's one way that we want to look at improving things overall. We got to strive to be different. Oh, I strive to be different. We have the community aspect, the interaction. We got the audio and the video stuff. But really the thing that we want to talk about with that is on our end, because we believe that the key to really improving the quality of all that stuff is to have a great team to lead it and to run it. And right now, I have part of a great team.
You have a great team. It's just you need more team
Correct.
members.
That probably didn't sound
Yeah.
right. I have a great team already, just not enough to dedicate strictly to the live streaming thing. And that's one of the things, that's the first big invite that I want to throw out there today when it comes to the streaming video stuff is we've been blessed to have Lillian Fix for the last few months, and she's been running cameras, and so I hope you feel like the visual side of things has improved.
Yeah.
It's more dynamic, better angles, more switching, all that kind of stuff, better coloring, all that great stuff. And she's done a fantastic job making it more interesting to watch, in my opinion. She has a great opportunity to work at Lake Wapagasset Bible Camp this summer, and then she's
What was
going to
that? Like,
Lake Wapagasset, WAPO.
got it.
Yeah, in Amory, Wisconsin. So she's going to be doing that all summer, and then she's going to be moving down to the University of Minnesota campus to continue her education down there. That's in the fall, and so unfortunately, we're going to be losing her as a team member. And right now, as it stands, the way that we mix the audio for the live stream is on the same board that we run the main audio in the room. And that can be a tricky thing because it's sort of underneath all of that stuff that we're running, and you can't simultaneously do them on the same board. And so here's what I'm asking. I would love to put together a streaming video team that would consist of about, from a technical perspective, 6 people. You know, we do things every weekend of the month, and it's both Saturday and Sunday. And the more people that we have, the more we can spread out. And so not any
so you mean
one
5,
or 2
6 people like on a rotation, not
on a rotation.
not
Every
week.
weekend,
Yeah,
yes.
You don't need 6
I would
people.
say 2 to 3 people every weekend, maybe 2. One to do cameras and one to do audio.
Running sound for just specifically
Running
mixing
sound
for
just
the
for the live
stream.
stream and running cameras just for
Yeah.
the live stream.
Yeah.
So 2 people a weekend that we could rotate within a given month. So that would be 6 people. You don't even need to have experience. Having a passion for technology, maybe if you're a photographer or you like shooting video and you have a really creative eye, you want to do the cameras, and maybe you're willing to learn the soundboard and you just love music. You know, you don't need to be technically inclined on a soundboard. You just have to love good music and have, just know what sounds good.
Yeah.
We will teach you the tools and the know-how on how to operate all this stuff. And so if you are out there and if you're watching this at whatever point you're watching this today or a week from now, and you have an inkling, you can either just type in the chat here, or you can email me at andys@nrf.life, and we'll get you. We'll just start a conversation, and would love to have you join the team. The other thing that we're interested in, and just putting out there as an ask, would be more on Greg's side when it comes to the community,
Yes.
and the live stream.
I'm seeing if I could type your email.
Okay.
No, keep going.
Well, I was gonna
Oh,
give it to
I'm
you to
listening.
hear to
I
talk
could-
in a moment. So the live stream
right.
team as a whole will consist of both this technical end and then this other community end, that Greg probably would oversee and kind of train you in. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, someone that would host, like, kind of be a service host or a presence online, interacting with people if they come on, saying good morning, and kind of just acting on Northridge's behalf. We wouldn't ask you to, like, get too deep into answering. If someone has some crazy questions that you don't know how to answer, you could come get help for that. But just to be there and interact with people, maybe be the kind of the first person there. If someone says, "Hey, I could really use prayer for someone," I'd like a pastor or someone to contact me, and to be that kind of the host online that would
It's a lot
connect
like
them with one of
Connections
us.
team here in the building.
Right, just like a
people,
Connections
the greeters,
person. Yep.
the welcome team, ushers, and stuff like
Yep.
that, right?
Yeah, very similar, just online.
Just
Yeah, and you
virtual.
could do that remotely, so, in your PJs. You don't have to be in the building. I mean, it'd be great
And
if
you don't have
were.
to tell people that you're in your.
You don't have to tell people
pajamas.
you're in your PJs either.
Well, I can do that, Greg.
Okay,
She
quick
says.
poll. How many people that are attending church online on Sunday mornings are still in their PJs? I'm not a poll. How about Andy and Gregg guesses? How many?
I don't know. Do you
I'm
think that
the-
would make people feel weird about admitting that, or I don't know?
They don't have to admit it. I'm just how many people do. I think I'm one that I didn't do that. I feel weird, like if I've always been this way. I don't even like going out of the house before getting, like, showering and getting dressed. So if I feel like I'm doing something even at home, I try to shower. So even during quarantine, I'm like, I get ready, and I have to get up early to get ready to look this good. That's not supposed to be funny, but no. It takes a while to do
Takes
my
a while.
hair. Yeah. No, but I know there are people that if they had their way, they'd be in their PJs all day, every day.
Yeah, I don't even own.
I have people in my home.
I don't even own a pair of PJs.
I don't have PJs either. Whatever you sleep in, Andy. I mean,
Although I've always wanted like a full size onesie with the feet thing.
what? Really?
Yeah. Well, and I have one that's like a tiger, but
Yeah, I
it's
was
more of
gonna
a
say you wear
costume.
that for Halloween.
It's
for
more
the
of a
trunk or
costume.
treat.
We were sort of off track. Anyway, back to
You could wear whatever costume you want, and you could host the service online.
back to the virtual
Yeah.
connections team. We would probably love to have a handful of those people
Yep. Yeah.
to do. You could even just do one service. You don't have to do all
Mm-hmm.
weekend. You could do one service, and or you could do a couple services once a month or something like that.
Yeah.
And like Greg said, it's not like you're responsible for answering questions for the whole church. You can always hit Greg up because he probably still will be on his computer back there and just monitoring everything, monitoring the frequency
Yeah.
that that's from. Anyway.
Nope.
The other thing that would be kind of cool to have is just this a team of additional people to do some other things behind the scenes, like shooting video. We've tried to incorporate, obviously during the quarantine stuff, we had more videos that we were making, and then as we started doing the hybrid stuff, we try to incorporate videos regularly, but not every week. We do the Kids Spotlight. That's just a standalone on the kids' YouTube page, but that's still happening. We do some announcement videos every once in a while, other supplemental videos. So if you have a passion for video/video editing, one or the other or both, would love to know that you're out there
Yeah.
and love to have you be a part of that. more the administrative side. Greg, there's some things that you do every week that, if somebody wants to get involved on the administrative side, what kind of opportunities do they have?
Yeah, so every time we go live, we have to set up an event on YouTube, and and then things like, it sounds complicated. It's not. It just takes a little time, but so you just have the description of the service and the times, and then all that sort of stuff, just the details of the service. Set that up, get those all scheduled, and then things like linking that over to our website so that if people want to watch the service through our website, they could access it there. So we got to update that weekly. Well, for each service, we try to update that.
And they can do that from home. They don't
Again,
you
yeah,
don't need
that's
to come
stuff
here.
that's remote. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Connections team members.
That- I know we're doing a lot more like online stuff, but we're like, I'll just say we also, the traditional in-house connections team.
Yeah.
We need more. Our team is awesome, but small. Like Andy's team he was talking about earlier. But we could definitely use more people for in-house in the building connections team.
Yeah, just a general invite as you guys. For those of you that already have started coming back in the building, and for those of you that have considered it, I know I saw a family here this last Sunday that it had been over a year.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. We were playing one of the first songs, and they walked in that door over there, and their whole family was here. And it was so distracting. And I'm supposed to be singing and playing the guitar, and I just kept looking over that way because I was so super excited to see them. As you are in that same place of thinking about considering coming back, maybe you once existed on one of these teams, make sure you get in touch with whoever your leader was before all this quarantine stuff happened, and just touch base with them and let them know where you're at, how you're doing, and whether or not you would like to resume being a part of that same ministry, whether it's youth ministry, kids ministry, connections, worship team, anything that's going on, because we are going to be starting ramping up events and different things.
Yeah.
Where we're going to love having as many people serving and volunteering as possible. So would love to have you jump back in with us and be a part of what God is doing. He never stopped doing stuff. He's continuing to do stuff. And we just want to be a part of whatever he's doing. And a big part of that is getting the thing out into the internets. And did we miss anything, Greg?
Probably.
Probably, yeah, we probably did.
But there's let's see.
We got more comments in here than we usually do on the weekend.
Well, I can do that, Greg. I'm guessing that means some of the
Kathy,
stuff online.
Glenn was.
Yeah, we can accommodate that. I'm guessing Kathy is talking about getting you PJs with the little foot thing. No, I think maybe if you guys are talking about helping out.
If it were a
remotely.
camouflage one too, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, how would you find it when it's in your drawer? You can't see it. Oh, jeez.
Hey, Greg.
Yep.
How much does a chimney cost?
I don't know. How much does a chimney cost?
Nothing. It's on the house.
Oh. Oh, man.
I'm not even a dad.
What do you call a bear without ears?
I don't know.
A bee.
Oh, okay. So this is going off the rails quick. And for anybody that watched this, hey, we really appreciate your time. We are so honored and privileged to be able to do what we do.
Yeah.
And part of that is just for just the fact that we get to do this as a job. I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I know Greg does too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a privilege to be able to do it with you.
Yep.
As people who who consider themselves part of Northridge Fellowship, and then it's obviously just an honor to do this for our Savior.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's continue to do it together. If you have questions and want to talk about this more individually, Greg, you can type your email address in there. Mine's already in there, or just give us a call. Stop by. grab us after the service or whatever. Let's just keep it open, conversation going, and all work together to make this as excellent as we can, because I think it will make a difference in the lives of you all and people that are yet to be part of the family of God, and then it'll also make an impact for what God's doing here in the Rogers area. So,
Yeah.
anything else to add?
No, all that. It's awesome. Like you said, it's great to be a part of it and just see how it's been really cool to see how God's worked this last year through the suddenness of like going, online only to coming back in-house and online throughout the summer, and then having to go back online, at some point in the fall. And what's been cool is people have been engaged and in many ways throughout this whole process. So it's cool to see how God's worked in many different levels, many different ways. But yeah, we're just excited to see what's next and how he could continue to use Northridge to make a difference in our community and in the world through regular in-person attendance, and then also, online through various means.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, just keep talking while I go back and
Okay.
turn everything off.
I'll keep talking. I wish I could remember some more jokes.
It's good to talk with you all today.
My son has a little cheesy joke book that we've been reading at night, and the only one I could remember is that bear joke that I already said. So, I don't really have any more jokes. I'm not. People say, Greg, you're kind of funny. Tell me a joke, and I really usually don't have jokes. I usually just say something dumb in response to something that someone else has said. So, you have to give me fuel. Say something, Andy. Andy's just being quiet.